Hey everybody out there, it's Dictatorship. I'm back. Sorry I haven't made any videos in a while, but I've been homeless. I finally came to visit a friend today. We have some internet, so I thought I might make a video and talk about some of the stuff that's going on, especially with the Trump regime. This is neo-fascism, neo-Nazism. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And this is actually, what they're doing with the military. This is actually the standing army that the founding fathers warned us about, and they actually created the Second Amendment to stop. And you've got what we're seeing so far out here across USA is, which they should be doing the same thing that they're doing in Venezuela to counter the U.S. hegemony, however it's pronounced. To enlist, local and national militias, to challenge authority. Instead you've got everybody out here, really all they're doing is just pointing phones at everything, so they can make videos and monetize off of it. Parading around with banners and bullhorns, sharing memes and stuff like that. Anybody that doesn't already know about what's going on here in USA and over in the Middle East, and especially Palestine, is probably in a coma. You know what I mean? The time for, people say, oh, the most powerful thing is your voice. No, the most powerful thing is not your voice. The most powerful thing is challenging authority, and this is an armed dictatorship. You know what I mean? You got powerful people in control of our country, and they're actually trying to. I mean, it's obvious. It's more than obvious. They're trying to take over the planet. This is a Nazi dream come true. You got 800 military bases all around the planet, and bombing countries at will, blowing up boats. And there's nobody stopping them. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't know, what's going on, with China or Russia, not military intervening in some of these places in the world where, United States is just imposing their will. But here in the United States, life goes on. Most people don't even get it. They don't understand. It's a Wall Street dictatorship. Wall Street is, and these corporate parasites, landlords too, they're stealing the surplus labor value from workers, gouging consumers, gouging renters, gouging home buyers, making it almost impossible, for a working class person, you know what I mean? And like around here where I'm at, there's not even any jobs, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty much stuck out homeless and I have nowhere to go. But, and they're bribing these politicians, they're political operatives, to legislate tax evasion scams. So the entire tax burden is put on the workers, consumers, and taxpayers, and that's basically what's going on right there. This is neo-fascism. This is, I mean, there couldn't be a better example of Mussolini's, when he coined the term. He said that the fascism is a merger of the corporations and the state. Well, I mean, this is the hub of corporations. This is Wall Street, the hub of corporations that have completely taken over your government, and they've installed all these tech bros. This is a surveillance state. And these tariffs and everything. This is the same playbook that was used back in the early 1900s, the 1920s. They used tariffs for trade war. It led to the Gilded Age, which led to the Great Depression, and then the World War II, which most people don't even know that, the Wall Street, tons of, American financiers financed that war. You know what I mean? Lots of American companies financed that World War II, But to go back, we've got the solution to this thing is people you've just got to you've got to you've got to use the Second Amendment. You know what I mean? There's many people that get on the right wing, for storming the Congress. You know what I mean? A lot of the left, these clueless, performative, ineffective, docile faux left, they just don't want to take up guns, and if you don't, you can't protest or vote your way out of neo-fascism. It's really just going to get worse. I'm telling you right now, it's totally going to get worse. And you have to challenge authority. I mean, you're not necessarily saying that you're going to shoot anyone. I mean, there have been bloodless coups. You know what I mean? But you do have to arrest these people. These corrupt politicians, these Wall Street parasites, these corporate predators, these landlords who are making it impossible for people to live in this country. You can't get a wage increase, yet, Wall Street's. These are people who make money in their sleep and while out yachting. These are not people who work. These are lazy freeloaders. This is what people don't understand. These are nothing but a bunch. These Wall Street parasites, these corporate predators, these landlords, they're the freeloaders. It's people on welfare. This is a lack of jobs. They've created a situation where we have surplus labor, where we have people who literally, can't find a job, and then they can't pay their bills, and they become homeless. And this is done on purpose. You know what I mean? So we're going to make an example. We're going to give the people. This is why they're always showing homeless people all the time. They say, hey, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't mind. If you don't behave, if you don't be a complacent worker drone for corporate America. This is what's going to happen to you. We're going to put you out the street. This is why we have to have socialism. We have to have our social. You know what I mean? We have to fund. We have to take all this money that this $1 trillion a year military budget and all this money that's going to arm and fund these foreign countries. We have to take over these politicians. They have to be arrested. There's no way getting around that. If you have to beat their militarized police force, you're just going to have to make the sacrifices necessary to liberate yourselves and the vulnerable. You know what I mean? Ourselves. There's just no doubt about that. There's no getting around that. You know what I mean? All this parading around, marching around, pointing your phones at everything. It's performative and ineffective. You've been doing it. How long are you going to do it until you just finally figure out? What Einstein said, that doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, it just doesn't work. This political system, this two-party, it's like a seesaw. It's like a seesaw. It's all it is. Republicans, Democrats, Republicans, Democrats, Republicans, Democrats. And every time one party gets in, corporate powers and Wall Street, they get a little bit more of what they want. And look at what they have now. Now they have full control of everything through the Republicans. The Democrats are just as bad. I'm not defending them. But you're going to have to arrest these people. And we're going to take this country back and start using our money for housing, utilities, healthcare, food, education, transportation, retirement. And the retirement doesn't need to be tied to age. Retirement needs to be tied to surplus labor. If somebody doesn't have a job, you retire. It may be temporarily. And say, oh, okay, we all of a sudden we built a bunch of manufacturing plants, and we're going to give you a job over here. Okay, oh, okay, so go work for a few more years. I mean, that would be fine with most people as long as and we've got this thing going on with this big drug thing to demonize homeless people. The fact of the matter is that the drug demand, anybody who thinks that people on food stamps and welfare are funding a multi-billion-dollar drug trade and demand don't have a working brain cell in their head. They really don't. The drug demand and trade, and I lived in Huntington Beach, California, 3 miles from the beach, and all my neighbors used coke. They all had weed delivered all the time. This multi-billion-dollar drug demand and drug trade is wealthy people in gentrified enclaves. And a lot of people don't even know, but in Colombia, the United States has several DEA offices. They have several military bases there, and they're the drug traffickers. As a matter of fact, your politicians are the drug traffickers. And everything else that's wrong with the country. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, but I just want to talk about some things. that is going on in the world today, and come back and say hi. All right, Hippinator 13. Until next time, bye.